Hello, I'm Nicole of NicoleNichelle.com, my blog. This is one of my first videos of many. I want to get more into book reviews, but I also want to venture into reaction videos. This specific reaction is to the Meagan Good controversy and the MAC Cosmetics controversy this week. Yeah, they were just things I thought were important to discuss, and I'd love to discuss them with you. And then I wanted to mention, look out for my first book review that will be coming soon on Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book is I want to review this one first because it is Black History Month and it's a Black author, and I believe she started the hashtag We Need Diverse Books on Twitter, and she's a really great author. Yeah, look out for that. So I guess let's just hop into it. This week, Meagan Good and her husband, they were doing a book tour around, I think it was like, they started earlier last week and it poured into this week and into Valentine's Day and Sunday. But they were doing a book tour on their book titled Wait. And the main point of that publication was to share their personal relationship, especially where they were waiting for marriage and to have sex, all fine and good. So they were doing this tour, people were asking them questions, they were promoting their book, everything was fine and good. They participated in what I believe is another promotional endeavor, but also I guess sharing in ministry at a church in LA, I believe is called One Church. There was a panel for questioning, and the small I guess insight we got as an outside audience to that panel was one questioner came up, told Meagan Good, you're beautiful, and you said you're going to wait until marriage, but I saw you on a magazine somewhere the other day with your breast showing. So for that reason, she thought that Meagan Good's actions with her husband were not all genuine, I guess, because somewhere out there in a magazine, she's showing some skin, I don't even know, was it a V-neck or something like that? So I think that was worth discussing because it's something that I've discussed with my friends who participate in that path in their relationship, and it also just goes into some of my criticisms that I think go on surrounding that. And yeah, I want to first say that I want to discuss this in a positive way. We don't have to disrespect one another in disagreement. And yeah, let's just go from there. So first of all, we just need to clarify that you can never deduce a woman's desire for sex based off of what they're wearing. And that's the number one flaw I saw into that. Second of all, Meagan Good is being really vulnerable in sharing what's going on with her and her husband and their personal struggles with abstaining from sex. And somehow, in an environment that I would think would be the most loving and supportive of her actions, somebody wants to undercut that solely based on what she's wearing. So they want to undercut the fact that she spent the large amount of time that she was with her husband before getting married because of the clothing that she wears. And I think that the church in particular needs to be a whole lot more supportive of women, because my experience with that, with people trying to evangelize to me on the same subject matter, I'm a Baptist, so I don't need any of that. I don't need to be born again. But for people trying to evangelize to me on that subject matter, the burden always seems to fall on women to be the most, I guess, pure, and why it's part of why I don't like that whole pure kind of narrative, because the burden to maintain purity almost always falls on women. I'll just give you a story. So I've been a Christian all my life. I've been a Baptist Christian my entire life. And in college, I guess that's the time where, you know, their philosophy philosophies change, and the way that they view their religion and God changes, but mine didn't. And there's a huge push for by evangelicals and other religious groups to really hold tight to people and teach people the Word of God, and which is a really great thing. I personally don't evangelize. I think it's if you lived your life in a positive way and in a way that you're happy, others will want to be like you, and they'll start to ask, how are you so happy? What is the basis of your happiness? And if that answer happens to be God and family or something like that, perhaps people will reevaluate their relationship with their God and their family and want to learn more. So if somebody presses me to ask me about my spirituality and why I am the way I am, I'm more than happy to share. But in terms of going to people and telling them that you need to follow my religion, no, that's not it. And a large amount of my friends don't share my same religion, but we're all good. I go to your weddings, I dance in your weddings, and we're all cool. But anyway, so I think, okay, so the story goes, a guy, me and my girlfriends are all sitting at a table, and a guy walks up to us, and he just, I guess, he walks up to us, and he just sits down at our table. There are four of us, just having a discussion. He had come out of some youth group meeting. He had been baptized that weekend. He was a born-again Christian. He went to some type of convention, got baptized, and now he's like the world's #1 Christian now. And he sits down at our table, and the first question he asks us, he looks around the table and says, "Do you guys have sex?" Okay, who are you? We had never seen this guy before, but he proceeds to say that he told me what I told you guys, and he told us, and he said he had been born again, he had never had religion. One, I'm at the table, I've been a Baptist my entire life, and very strong in my faith. Two, there was another Ethiopian Christian there, and Ethiopian Christianity is like some of the oldest forms of Christianity there is. So, okay. Somebody, like, he sat down at the table and was telling us all of these things. We need to convert to Christianity, and the plight of non-Christian activity was based on our sexuality. He said God doesn't like sex. So, one, that's just an example of, like, first of all, if you're going to evangelize, do better. And second of all, I don't think you should go up to strangers and ask them those questions. I mean, you actually might get embarrassed. Like, what if I'm into whips and chains? I'll just tell you if you really want to get into it. But, yeah, you probably shouldn't go around asking those questions. But once again, that was someone who immediately felt that after being born again and being a part of religion, that he needed to go lecture women on their sexuality. And so I think that pulls into the attitude that proliferates in the community, the church community, that someone would feel at liberty to lecture a stranger on that. And if you're really going to talk about that with someone, that should be someone you know intimately, and as a friend so they know where you're coming from, or just leave it alone. I just highly suggest just leaving that subject matter alone. And knowing that there's a whole lot more to being a fully realized person than that one element of your life. And also, like, if you make a decision about abstaining or not, that should be on you. It shouldn't be on you to, like, lecture other people on what's good and what's not good. Okay, so moral of the story is, I think that when we talk about relationships, especially that aspect, it's better to talk about that with people that you know. And as public figures, I think that they went about it in a way that was good for them. I don't really comply with that philosophy, but I will commend them on the way that they went about it. It was really great. It was a really positive thing. You know, they said, this is what worked for us, and we would love for you to try it, and that's great. It's just like any person, if somebody wants to put a diet out there that they're really excited about. Like, I'm a vegan, and I'm not going to condemn you for not being a vegan, but I'm going to tell you that this worked for me, and I feel so much better and so much fully realized as a person. But we should also understand that reasons why couples may live together or not abstain from sex they have their own reasons, and those are great reasons. Just whenever, do what works for you and what's healthy with you. I think it's important to have those discussions in relationships, but I think it's also really important to stop putting the burden for purity on women. It's really, it's it's just a lot. And there's a whole burden for women to do one thing or the other. And I actually would challenge you. I've known couples who don't kiss until their wedding night, and that couple who doesn't kiss until their wedding night could lecture Meagan Good and her husband on the evils of kissing before marriage. And they didn't. That's not what Meagan Good and her husband did. But even when people think that they're pure and being glorifying God by not having sex, there's somebody who's doing even more than that. There's people who won't hold hands until marriage. And my reply to that is, and which I'm sure Meagan Good and her husband's reply to would be, do what's good for you, we'll do what's good for us. And if this works for us, like, we hope that you can share in that, but if not, okay. So, anyway, the second thing that I wanted to go over, or the second issue, what am I talking about? The second issue I wanted to go over was the Instagram controversy. So MAC Cosmetics has an Instagram page and they post pictures, and this week they posted a picture of a model, and let me find it. I'm gonna find it. I'm on my phone. Okay, her handle on Instagram is One Titel. I think One Titel. That might be how you pronounce her name. Anyway, here's the picture. Okay, so they posted this picture, I guess promoting a certain lipstick. I hope you can see that. You probably can't. But if you can't, go to MAC Cosmetics Instagram and you'll be able to see it. And people immediately jumped on the picture and started using the N-word, saying those are ugly lips, those are N-word lips. I mean, come on. And by the way, this is the same platform that was mad over Beyonce saying Negro nose, and they're over here using the N-word to trash a model for her lips. What is particularly ironic is that Instagram is a platform that has so many companies selling products, things that you suck on, injections, Kylie Jenner lip kits, to get you to have that feature, which just further goes to prove the point that people like black features on white packages, and that's not acceptable. I'm someone who's been made fun of specifically for having big lips, and so it's not something I'm not used to. It just rolled right off. But it's highly ironic that a platform that has makeup artists who are famous just because they are experts at overlining their lips or experts at sharing what injections they're getting to obtain that specific feature would trash someone who naturally has that. Now, Mac did respond with a picture that says all ages, all races, all sexes, right? And I'm glad. They said MAC stands for and respects all ages, all races, and all sexes. We celebrate the beauty of individuality and the confidence to be who you are. That is great, but my one criticism is that people didn't attack all races and all ages and all sexes on your page. They specifically called her an N-word. They went after an old type of racism, it's nothing new, to tear down what is a newer celebration of more features. But they attacked black features. They attacked a black model with big lips and called her the N-word. So they didn't go on the other photos on your Instagram account and call them the N-word. They called her that. So I think it's important for MAC to say we do not support making fun of these specific features because she's black, because that's the reason they called her the N-word. They didn't call anybody else the N-word. So I think it's important to specifically say that making fun of someone and using racism to try and tear them down is not acceptable. And then you can move on and say that, of course, we accept all races, all sexes, and everything. But if someone was making fun of a brown girl for her features, or features that are specific to another race, or a certain type type of garb that is worn by a certain culture, if they attack that culture, I think it's important to say, we don't support you attacking that culture because blank. And of course, it's inherent that because you don't accept that type of non-inclusive language and non-inclusive behavior, that you, of course, accept everyone as equal. So that's inherent. I think that people, need to stop generalizing and saying all, when it was a very specific type of racism that was exhibited, anti-blackness, and that was exhibited because of that model. So I do commend them for trying to come out and stand against it, but I think, yeah, just be more specific. So that's what I had to say about it. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Always be respectful. I respect you, and love your own features. All right. So I will see you soon for my book review, and let me know what other current issues you want to hear. I have one subscriber, and I don't know who it is. It actually might just be the guy from MySpace who does a courtesy follow for everybody. You may have just followed me over to YouTube. But yeah, I hope you like it. Let me know what you want to hear me talk about, and I'll talk to you later.